So there's this guy online called Jackson Hinkle, I think it's his name, and he is an American anti-Israel, anti-Semitic activist who is just honestly comes across as extremely foolish, flippant, um, and I'm only covering him because he has a very big following, and I want to expose his lunacy. Really, to be honest, he went to Qatar to interview the heads of Hamas in a sycophantic interview. It really is just utterly vile, as he speaks to the Hamas official Bassem Naim. And I want to show you a few clips of this just to expose the lunacy of the anti-Israel activists out there who try to legitimize what is pure evil.
And the strategy was proven successful. I mean, yesterday alone, Gaza freed 3 Israelis, and there was, I believe, over 360 Palestinians that were being tortured and killed and almost killed in Israeli prisons that were freed back into Gaza. So, I mean, the strategy has been vindicated, right? It shows that your method was not to terrorize the people. It was about, one step closer to liberation and actually freeing the Palestinians that are being tortured, right?
I think we as...
I honestly wonder if he believes what he's saying. Yeah, it's just a strategy to free your people, and you're not looking to harm people and terrorize people. Hamas killed 1,200 innocent Israeli and Jewish men, women, and children indiscriminately. That's just a fair strategy to try and get back your land. How could anyone possibly begin to justify that? And then he says, like, the strategy of hostage taking has been vindicated. He is, I think Jackson Hinkle, to me, he is inciting violence. He's inciting terrorism. And the moral equivalence that he creates, saying, yeah, you take hostages and then you get Arab criminals and terrorists released, as if there's in any way a moral equivalence. The attempt to try and say they're just political fighters. No, they're not. They are ideologically anti-Semitic and hateful and want to kill Jews from a deep religious Islamist ideology. And to try and paint it as anything other than that, it's just, the indiscriminate killing, the hostage taking in order to release more terrorists who would just want to see more Jews dead. That is just about some genuine desire for a nation state. I genuinely don't know how he can look himself in the mirror every day and justify such lies and such evil. Another clip.
I think that is a perfect note to leave off on. So, Dr. Bassem Naim, thank you so much.
Please.
And I just got to say that as an American, I am, of course, appalled by what my government is doing. And the Palestinians and you have my full support and the support of many Americans. The tide is shifting, and we just love you guys.
By the way, we have observed this all the 15.
We love you guys. We love you guys for what? The fact that Hamas have in their charter desire to kill all Jews worldwide. That they say, and their leaders have said time and again, they don't care about statehood. They just care about getting rid of the Jewish state. This guy, Jackson Hinkle, is, without any question, just an anti-Semite, a hater of Jews. To say we love you guys to people and an organization that seeks the death and destruction of the Jewish people, it is utterly outrageous. By the way, in this discussion, the Hamas representative said, by the way, we have no issue with Jews and Judaism, we just have an issue with Israel. That's a lie, by the way. Listen to the sermons that they give in their mosques. Listen to the leaders behind closed doors. That's just a lie. But even if you want to go along with that, people that try to separate Judaism and Jews from the land of Israel, they are against Judaism. They are against the Jewish people having... If you're against the Jewish people having a home of their own, having safety, security, self-determination, but also living in their ancient homeland, a land which is so deeply tied to their religion, to their Torah, which, by the way, I think Jackson is a Christian, which his Christianity is based on, and Islam is based on, by the way. If there was ever a people that had a connection with with a land, it's the Jewish people and the land of Israel. And so people that are trying to separate that is to try and steal Jewish identity. Judaism and Israel are completely intertwined. Open a Bible, for goodness sake. People that try to separate that, what they are doing is trying to undermine and destroy Judaism and the Jewish people, actually. So let's just make sure we nip that idea in the bud when people try to say that, no, I'm just against the colonization. They are the colonizers. What that flag represents is colonization. They claim to have the cause of consciousness, of conscience. Actually, what they represent is unconscionable. Here's another clip.
I like that. But also, the military expertise of Hamas and the Palestinian resistance factions has been incredible. I think many people across the world are shocked by the courage and the honor that they have exhibited over the past 15 months. And
the courage and honor of raping, mutilating, beheading, kidnapping, and killing and burning 1,200 Israelis, Jews, and taking hostage so many, leaving them emaciated, raped, mutilated, starved, and treated as vermin. And he says, no, it's fair enough. It's just, they're just doing that in order to help release other Arab terrorists who have sought to do exactly what Hamas did on October 7th. I wonder how he looks at himself in the mirror in the morning, genuinely. I don't know. I don't know whether he believes what he's saying. I think he does. And it's very sad. Very sad to see. But one of the most important moments in this interview, which actually I think needs to be acknowledged, is what he says at this point in the interview, where he says, I think actually maybe the only truthful thing in the whole interview. Have a watch.
First of all, this confrontation, it is not between Hamas and Israel, because this has been said all the time, especially in the Western mainstream media. It is between Palestinians and Israel. Maybe this time it is led by Hamas, but 20 to 30 years ago it was led by Fatah, 50 years ago it was led by PFLP and other. I mean, for more than 100 years, Palestinians are leading this struggle to get rid of the occupation.
So let's understand that clearly, what he's saying. What he's saying is true. It's what the Western media and Western governments want to ignore, which is that what Hamas did and what Hamas represent is not like you have them as a minority and they're holding hostage the Palestinians. No. What Hamas represents is the deepest ethos of the Palestinian cause, of Palestinianism. And they have, according to polling, according to first-hand witnesses, according to data, according to so much evidence, first-hand primary evidence, there is widespread support for what they did on October 7th, not just in the direct aftermath, but in the many months afterwards as well. I saw a poll just from middle of last year that showed widespread support, like 80%, 85% among the Arabs of Judea and Samaria and Gaza for what they did on October 7th. And so he's actually saying one thing that's true there, and that's something that people try to ignore. But let's be clear of what the lie is. The lie that it's just about we're trying to get rid of the occupation. Let's understand that when Israel was formed, there was no widespread displacement of Arabs. It was when the Arabs decided to launch a war against Israel, the nascent Jewish state that had been re-established. The only sovereign state that ever existed in that land was a Jewish one, 2,000 years ago, and then re-established in 1948. So let's understand, no displacement had occurred when the United Nations voted for Israel to be re-established. There were Jews living there legally, having returned there through legal purchases. And Jews always maintained a presence in that land, by the way. And they had their sovereign state there centuries before Islam even existed. And yes, Arabs moved there, absolutely. But it's when the United Nations said, okay, we'll split the land into two. The Arabs can have a state, the Jews can have a state. 50-50. even though really the Arabs are actually the colonizers of this land. And the Jews said yes, and the Arabs said no, we're going to kill off the Jewish state and throw the Jews into the sea. And that's when the displacement happened. Most of them actually just fled because they were told by the Arab leaders, flee, and then once we throw the Jews into the sea, then you can come back. So how can you tell me that we're just against the occupation? You caused all these issues, all the things you lament. You say it's just we're a unique Palestinian people and we want to restore our sovereignty. Well, had the Arabs won in 1948 or 1967 or 1973, God forbid, and destroyed Israel, God forbid, this is what the land would look like. Where's the Palestinian state? There isn't one. Because it's just about Arabs dominating the region and expanding their colonization. And Islam expanding its colonization. It's not about occupation and colonization, all these things that they say. It's a lie. One of the representatives of a Palestinian group who's involved with the PLO, Zohair Mohsen, said in 1977, there's a quote attributed to him, "The Palestinian people do not exist. The creation of a Palestinian state is only a means for continuing our struggle against Israel for our Arab unity. And today there is no difference between Jordanians, Palestinians, Syrians, and Lebanese." The first spiritual political leader of the Arabs in this area was Hajj Amin al-Husseini. And he said the same thing. He wanted the land to be part of southern Syria. So let's not fall for the lies. It's about Islamic dominance, conquest, colonization. The irony is that they are everything they accuse the Jews of. They accuse the Jews of ethnic cleansing. They're the ones doing the ethnic cleansing. They accuse the Jews of colonization. They are the colonizers. They accuse the Jews of occupation. They are the occupiers. They accuse the Jews of seeking to destroy and treat people as subhuman. It is they who do that. So we're going to continue to speak the truth. And for those who say, why are you giving time to someone like him, Jackson Hinkle? It's because he has a big following. And so we need to make sure that we can counter the lies and get into the algorithm so that more people can understand the truth. I don't think enough people are stating the truth in an uncompromising, unequivocal way. And I, for one, will continue to do that.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.